Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chasing, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.
It's about to go down.
Hey!
Yes, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports is Ordered, brought to you by 2-5 and Mr. Logical. Happy early Thanksgiving out there.
Gobble, gobble.
We got some stuff to get to tonight. Of course, we're going to talk some NFL. We got college football playoff ranking release. And then we got a little bit of inside the association for you. So we're going to get right to it. Mr. Logical. Oh, my goodness. I was sitting around Sunday night, and I was like, yo, I don't know how some of these people are still employed. And then the Raiders and the Giants said, I don't know how some of these people are still employed. So how are we feeling about Chip Kelly being out and then Shane Bowen getting the boot as well? And before you even get started, my bad, like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. Liquid death in hand, and make sure you hit them notification bells. But go ahead, Mr. Logical.
Oh, man. So Sunday, I finally sat still. I was like, I'm going to watch as much football as I can. The weather was kind of overcast. I was chilling. So I had a game on my phone, had a game on the iPad, I had one on the TV. All 3 sound were on. Rachel was like, how are you paying attention to all 3 games? Like, well, this is a stoppage and play. I could look at the TV. This is on a commercial. And I would just work my way around. I watched like 6 games. The Raiders shouldn't have hired the guys that they hired, so it was inevitable they were going to get fired. Chip Kelly, I don't think it's his fault that the offense looks that way. I think the offensive line is buns. Because even if your play calling's bad, your quarterback shouldn't get sacked 10 times, even though it's Myles Garrett. I know he got 5 against New England, but it's like your quarterback getting sacked 10 times is not play calling. That's not the offensive coordinator's job. That's somebody else. That's a level of preparedness that doesn't involve his expertise per se. So I think he was going to get fired anyway because they didn't look good. You draft Genty. You have this expectation that you're gonna run it up. I don't know why they had that with the pieces that we already know how their books are going to end being put in position first year together. Chip Kelly, we know he's not going to get better as an offensive play caller or coach, or his ability to have a relationship with players, because they talked about that a lot in Philly. They had a poor relationship with players. Pete Carroll, I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is a new league. You can't have a guy that's like probably 25 years older than the average coaches for the other 31 teams. If I had to do the quick math, I think Andy Reid might be close, but that's about it. I don't think there's another guy over 60 in the league that's a head coach, unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure like he's probably like I said, 20, 25 years above the average age of the rest of the 31 teams combined. And then Geno Smith. Like I didn't see Geno Smith last couple of years in Seattle and think to myself, okay, we can bring him into our team and get more out of him. So I just think the entire marriage was just poorly constructed, and it was rushed when it didn't have to be. Like you're behind all 3 teams in your division. There's no need for you to take this many swings trying to get to the top of a very tough, very organized division. They should have slowed it down.
So, the problem is that the Raiders remind me of a team that I know very well my very own Florida State Seminoles. You go get you a quarterback. Okay, he might not be the best, but he should work for what you want to do. You go get you a nice running back or two. You got wide receivers with speed everywhere, but you didn't take care of the interior at all. And,
Not at all.
so you think you could just out-athlete everybody, outrun everybody, but this is the problem, Mr. Logical. Not only is Chip Kelly an old offensive coordinator, like you said, he's the highest paid coordinator in the league, regardless of offense or defense. They brought him in at the highest coordinator contract that there is in the league right now. They are 23rd in passing. They're 31st in rushing. And, of course, you come in with the hype of Ashton Genty, and it's like, okay, he's a rookie, but he came in with that hype. So people expect more. Now, I don't know why.
Space, he trucked the safety.
Yeah, he looks fine.
When they got two, they got a seal here and a seal here, and you run in the alley. Shout out to Merrill Hodge. He trucked the safety. It's the problem. He got to avoid guys. He got to avoid guys in the backfield,
right?
And he can't get up to speed.
Well, not only that, but to get him to be the highest paid coordinator in the league, you had to take him off of a national title team. You know what I mean? Ohio State, and then of course he went to Ohio State off of the back of he just didn't want to recruit at UCLA. So I'm questioning your commitment in the first place. California recruits itself, but then. Yeah. The only team that the Raiders average more points than this season is the Tennessee Titans. Out of their 11 games, they hit 20 points 4 times. This is the third straight game that they didn't even score 17. So, so I think that this was one of those things that you probably could have rode out to the end of the season because
because you're not the backup guy is not going to do any better. And the Raiders are already paying, I think right now, their person and accounts payable is cutting checks for Gruden, McDaniels, Antonio Pierce, Pete Carroll, now Chip Kelly.
Are they still paying my dude?
And the interim guy
that we can't say his name. Yeah.
I think he might. I don't know. I don't think they hired him, but they let him go, and he was on the other staff. So I imagine he had some kind of a couple of years left on whatever his contract. So at one point, they're paying 7 coaches to not work for them in a $1 billion building, and probably the most, aside from Miami, if you want to just attract young free agents, it's Vegas. You can fly out of Vegas anywhere. The real estate's booming. The city in of itself is, like I say, they say New York's a city that never sleeps. Vegas doesn't sleep. There's a craps table open at 5:01 a.m., 5:02 p.m., 4:01 a.m. You can find it. And it's not hard to find.
Shout out to degenerates everywhere.
You can get a drink. You can get a meal. You can get whatever you want in Vegas. And it's like you have a good team there, new stadium. It's like, I don't know why you couldn't attract better talent.
All right, so what about the Giants? They let Shane Bowen go, which is odd to me. Not because I thought he should have been fired after the Dallas game, because if you're Brian Daboll, who obviously lost his job, you're in survival mode. Mike Kafka came out after this game against Detroit the other day and gave Shane Bowen the vote of confidence. And then I went grocery shopping and came back, and I got an alert that he was fired.
I don't know why he's fired.
Oh, I know exactly why he's fired.
It's pointless.
I know
just
exactly
write it out.
Because you're trying to survive. So Brian Daboll, right? He was the original head coach coming into this year. We talked about it. He shouldn't have been, right? So you figure that you would have fired him early because you're trying to show I can right the ship. I know what's wrong. I can fix it.
You're saying Joe Shane is trying to survive.
No, him too. But I was talking more so about Kafka because now I'm the interim coach. I might want this job. I'm not going to get this job if we continue to give up 30 points a game.
I don't think Kafka has the power to fire a guy. He just got the job this
week. No. But I'm saying, but he could go to Shane and say, because like I said, he went to the media. Kafka went to the media and said that, he's got my vote of confidence.
They did a good job against a very, very, very good offense for a while. They just had ill-timed, poor plays, which happens to good teams.
Happens to them every week.
What happens to those kind of teams? Like they had, like I said, I'll talk about their talent all the time, but it's like on that long run of overtime, the safety, there's going to be good blocks up front. You expect linemen on linemen, maybe one guy gets to the linebacker, but two guys behind the linebacker both can't be out of position. Like you see the play developing to your left as a safety. It's like, you got to get over there. And it was like, he didn't get over there in time. And then you're not going to catch Jahmyr Gibbs, even with the angle. So that was a bad, big play.
So this is
if
the
they
issue.
kick the field goal, they win the game. If they go up 30-24, they win the game.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because now when you kick the ball off, you know, you're giving the other team the ball at the 35. So it's not as if you're driving the whole field. You know what I mean? And this is Detroit that we're talking about. It only took Jahmyr Gibbs the one play in overtime to go 69. But
I was thinking, I was like, okay, listen, go for it. But I thought if you're going to go for it, like you're the team that only has 2 wins, you got to go with a bread and butter kind of play. You got to get your right-handed quarterback rolling to the right or something. Because, like, they had to play, the tight end came all the way across the formation. Like, have them come the other way. Like, I don't know why you have to make it difficult in already a difficult pressure situation. Like, make it as easy as possible. Simple play action rollout with a running back in the flat or a tight end in the flat and a guy across the back of the end zone. It's like, that's the same play they designed going left without the play action. Like, you can make it simple. Like, it's a simple game. You needed 4 yards.
Well,
like, just call the simple play.
Well, this is
That's
also the 5th time. This is the 5th time this year that the Giants have had a double-digit lead and lost the game. You know, and like I said, I thought he should have been fired the Dallas game right after that. But, you know, but they're giving up 28 points a game this year, which is the NFL we're talking about. This is nuts. You know what I mean? They're 30th in total defense. They're last against the run, giving up more 40-yard, 20-yard runs, whatever metric you want to use, yard runs, than any other team in the league. So the offense is obviously not the problem, because Jackson Dart came in and you know, like, not that they were scoring 30 points all the time, but they were functional. They were moving the ball down the field in a way that they weren't when Russell Wilson was in there. Then you bring Jameis in, and, you know, Jameis looked like he'd been starting the whole season, to be honest with you. And, you know, but you're still losing these games. So, like, something's got to give. So I understand why he was fired. But I got a separate question for you, Mr. Logical, that has nothing to do with either one of these bum-ass teams.
Who we got?
So we've been talking about Kansas City all year. You know,
Correct.
these must-win games. Are they on the verge of not making the playoffs? Were we talking about the wrong team the whole time?
Nah, because I think Buffalo, they got a couple extra wins. I think Buffalo can basically, you could book Buffalo right now for at least 10 wins. It might not have been the number that they're looking for, but I think that 10 locks them in, because the tiebreaker with Kansas City, also a tiebreaker with Baltimore in the event that Pittsburgh kind of rights that ship and takes over the AFC North. So they have the tiebreaker there. So you have some opportunity to like at least at a minimum slide into the playoffs where it's one and done. Anything can happen, because hell, anything has happened to the Buffalo Bills in the course of their playoff run. So I don't think we should be worried about them. I'm slightly worried about Kansas City in that same conversation. They grinded it out, but it was like they looked a lot like how they looked early on in the year, where it's like they couldn't make plays. And like, you got all the bodies there, how come the plays don't happen? And I think the lack of a run game is hurting them. And I don't know what's going on with Coleman. Like, is he still like in the doghouse?
Yeah, you know, he missing the meetings. You can take
He's
him
still
out
missing
of
meetings.
You could take him out of Tallahassee, but you can't take the Seminole out of him. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say about that. But I'm okay with Buffalo, but I'm a little concerned, because, like, when you look at their remaining schedule, they should be fine theoretically, because they get Pittsburgh this week. It's at Pittsburgh. Then they get Cincinnati next week at home. But of course, you know, we'll get into this because Joe Burrow's back. You know, then they go up to Foxborough, they go to Cleveland, and then they close with Philly and the Jets. You know, and Philly might have the division wrapped up by then, you know, or if not, Philly hasn't exactly inspired much confidence lately themselves. So Buffalo might be okay, but you left one little small nugget out of that diatribe that you went on. So yeah, they have the tiebreaker over Kansas City. You know, they have the tiebreaker over Baltimore. And this weekend, theoretically, they should get the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh. But this game that they just lost could be big at the end of the season. You know what I mean? To Houston. You know, because now Houston's turning it on. And don't look now, but Houston's got the Colts this week. If Houston wins that game, oh, the AFC is up. You know, so the AFC is up. But, you know, but speaking of Kansas City, did Mr. Gray save Kansas City's season with that catch?
Yeah. 5-6 season was over. They looked like they were pressing, like they were afraid of 5-6 versus we're gonna take this game over and get to 6-5, because Indy didn't get a ball to Jonathan Taylor. And when he got the ball, he wasn't getting much.
16 rushes, 58 yards.
They weren't getting much through the air. It's just that Kansas City, I don't know if they, once again, it's like, there was a few times where I thought Mahomes should have been a little bit more playmaker. And like, listen, we've seen you do it in countless playoff runs. And I get, as quarterbacks get a little older, they run less. But it was a few times where, like, the pocket, like, they were rushing 4, and I felt like he could have stepped up and maybe got 6 or 7 and made it 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 8, because they had a lot of 3rd and 8s, a lot of 3rd and 7s. I think the catch even before that was Rashee Rice. I think he got like a very crucial catch to kind of keep the game going. But yeah, I mean, these guys made plays, and I'm not sure who they have next week because I haven't looked at it just yet. But if they could get
Kansas
a game
City, we're about to talk about it. They play Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Just think about it for a second. We'll get into it.
Yeah, I think that's a game where you could right the ship, just because sometimes Dallas gets a lot of position defensively. Like the safety play is kind of like, the safety play gets sketchy, and you can have bad safety play if Mahomes gets 3.5 seconds in the pocket and your safety's out of position, he's letting it fly.
Yeah.
And if he gets too many of those shots, he's going to connect. Indy was in position defensively. It just offensively, I don't know if it's the mystique we talk about when people used to play the Patriots and they see Tom Brady on the other side of the car. We don't want to make a mistake because we don't want to give him an advantage. We want to give him an advantage. And all you did was, like, you took Jonathan Taylor basically out of the game by not giving him
You know what I think it is? I think it's that, and I don't want to sound cliche, but Scott's onto something here with this Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, or Nanny Nichols, as I like to call him. But I think what we saw was a team that's been there before versus a team that hadn't. You know what I mean? Like, the Colts are still learning how to win. So they're going through that process. And you remember a couple of weeks ago when they were sitting there around 5-1, 6-1, whatever it was, that was kind of what I said, as far as there's going to be a game or two that Steichen cost them because he's going to abandon the run. Because that's exactly what cost them the game when they lost their first game to the Rams, was that, you know, he just took the training wheels off and said, Danny, go win this. And you never want to be in that position to have that conversation. But I think that the Chiefs, we talked about it, they were 0-5 in these one-score games. And usually that was the staple that they built their seasons upon, was winning these close games. So I think that we just ran into a moment where they played a team that just couldn't match the output because they're not used to being in this position. You know what I'm saying? But elsewhere around the NFL, Mr. Logical, we got an injured Baker Mayfield now.
He was gutting it out. And that Hail Mary, because he went to the bench probably when I think they were down like 14-0 after he made a throw. And I don't know what happened. I know he had a run. And I don't know if I thought it maybe was his ribs.
It sounds like a separated shoulder from what I've been gathering.
Took on a tackler. And we know what happens when quarterbacks listen. Like I said, I want you to be a playmaker, but use that white paint to your advantage. Get out of bounds, protect yourself. He's a little bit more, Texas through and through. And hopefully, I don't know how long he's going to be out, how long he can play with them. I don't know if he can shoot it up and play. But yeah, that was a tough loss. And it kind of, I want to say, opened up the NFC South because
it was already open. If Carolina would have won last night, Carolina would have been in first place.
Yeah, but I still think it's a two-headed race. I'm not sure Atlanta can run off because they essentially have to win out for the rest of the year to get to 10-7.
With Atlanta, it starts out right. You get the Jets this week, so just start there and 1 week at a time, right? Just build.
As we talk about teams, I know how I like to talk about my team is that we talk about teams like the Bengals. You got the Jets this week, and then they go out there and give up 39 points to the Jets. Like weird things happen in the
we
NFL.
know the Falcons ain't giving up 39 to the Jets, though.
I would hope not.
Like if you give up 39 to Tyrod Taylor, you better go hit the bricks right now.
I got the Kirk Cousins Vikings t-shirt on because I got this when he was on the Netflix documentary Quarterback. So I like how he looked. But yeah, NFC. The Rams look like they are the clear-cut favorite, even with that loss to Philly. Matthew Stafford just looks like a man amongst boys, man.
He does. Well, I was going to bring up Philly. What are we doing with them? Because I know we've been talking about them the last couple of weeks. Everything's been kind of.
I haven't heard any Philly radio stations yet, but I think I'm gonna probably tune in tomorrow because I think it'll ramp up. They did everything they wanted to do. They got AJ Brown the ball. They went up 21-0. And it's a problem that I think Atlanta had and some of these other teams who can't score in the second half. It's like when your script runs out.
Bears
what
fan.
do you have?
Yeah.
In that, I just felt like, to me, being up 21-0, that's when you go for the kill shot when you get the ball back. And I felt like Philly just kept it's just the way what
Saquon did
when they were up. It just didn't work for me.
You know what Saquon did? 10 rushes for 22 yards. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts has put it out in the universe that Saquon will not score any touchdowns as long as he's on the field. It's not happening. He
stretched it all the way to the left, and I was like, there was a hole you could have cut up in there.
But hey, I got to bring it up real quick before we move on. I got to bring it up. Shador got his first win.
I was talking to my dad probably Friday, and he was like, listen, a good game for Shador is, he was like 14 for 24, 165 yards, a pick and a touchdown. He was like, fans shouldn't expect anything much more than that. He was pretty close, 11 for 20, 209. Screen pass, the bomb. The energy's different. It's a lot like Giants was Cam Scatterboo. It's a lot like the Giants with Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart got in the game. It haven't really equated to wins, but you went into that week and you saw the first few drives and you seen the leads get built and the energy was different. Myles Garrett, I know they've been showing this clip a lot of him watching Shador throw the bomb to Isaiah Bond. And I was watching Cleveland. I get a lot of Cleveland Facebook radio things. So I was following them early in the year. And I was like, I just kept getting them there. I'm in their algorithm now. The Cleveland radio fans, like the host, going 8. Yo, what did I tell you? Like, I'm telling you, they were over the moon. And it's like, calm down. Let him get a couple of games in. He threw a bad pick. But it was a big city. Vegas definitely fumbled by not drafting him. I'm putting it because I think they were the only. New Orleans, maybe, but I think New Orleans, you can lean on the expectation that New Orleans is probably looking at Garrett Nussmeier or Arch Manning.
Like if
that was their plan, you can look at that and you know what? For your organization, that makes sense. The dad's the offensive coordinator down there, and the grandfather is a Saints legend of the other quarterback. I can understand that. But the Vegas Raiders passing on Shador, they fumbled that. But I think it's a good game. it looks different. It looks like the play calls were different. It looks like they were trying to actively get him to stretch the ball down the field. Whereas,
well, because he can, you know what I'm saying? Unlike that other dude, as Bomani Jones calls him, Hawaii 5'9". You know, well, you know, it's one of those things, right? Appreciate you, Scott. You know, but you know, it's just one of those things where, like, when you listen to Shador, it shows the whole dynamic of America in a snapshot. You know what I'm saying? I see these dudes like Jackson Dart, you know, get on TV, say these outlandish things, throw a like thank God in there, and everybody's like, oh, he's so humble. Shador's like, yo, I thank God for everything. They cut it out and don't put it in the clip. And then they put everything else that he says, and it's like, oh, such an arrogant jerk. Like, oh, I can't believe this. And it's like, yo, look at the energy on that sideline. When Cleveland came out the other day,
when he came out last week. When he came in the game last week, and a player was injured. You don't know what a concussion is going to do to Dylan Gabriel. They didn't give a shit. The fans were like, the fans are throwing their watches up.
And I'm not trying to say
with energy.
And I'm not trying to say that Cleveland's all of a sudden going to become legendary, you know, no pun intended. But, you know, but at the same time, it's like that matters. Like, because we talk about this all the time. Like, there's certain guys that win a locker room, you know, that you just walk into the locker room. Jameis Winston's one of those guys. Yeah. You know, he's not the best quarterback on the roster, but
charisma's not taught.
Right.
Charisma and this new word they use now, aura,
and
not
like
taught.
And like, so like with Dion was more in your face, like, you gonna respect me, you gonna recognize what I bring to the table. Shador is more like childish, like I'm joking around, like this is a character almost, where it's like,
yo, he delivered
it's gonna get dangerous.
Line.
Yeah,
he delivered a dope line that I think if this works out in Cleveland, which I think it has it has the horses to carry the momentum, because they have good tight ends, good wide receivers, solid. They always have a solid offensive line. Get the run game mixed with the pass game. He learns more defenses. He learns more things. Then I think it'll work. But he said, what should the fans expect? Somebody was like, I'm the one they've been waiting for. When he hit him with that line, I was like, okay, that's the intro to your highlight reel if you run off a good run.
But that's exactly what you want your star or slash, you know, franchise person to be. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want no guy to come up to the microphone and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm just happy to be here, and one day this is going to come together. Like, I want my guy to come up there and be like, I'm putting the NFL on notice. And if it don't work out, guess what? We'll clown you.
I remind him of what his mentor, another guy who wore 12, was the fourth string guy. He walked into Robert Kraft's office after Robert Kraft made great business deals, made enough money to buy the Patriots. Tom Brady walked his office and said, I'm the best decision you've ever made in your business. He was a fourth string quarterback.
And you know what? And those
he was a 199 pick.
And those same people that would bang on Shador would be like, that's greatness.
That's what I want to hear.
Like, that's what yeah, exactly. But hey, you know, we got this holiday coming up, you know, that people celebrate, you know, all that kind of good stuff. Turkey legs and such, Madden, all that stuff comes back to memories. Absolutely. We got a big one. We got a big one in the NFC North, formerly NFC Central, the black and blue division that the Chicago Bears sit atop of. But we're going to Ford Field. Packers, Lions, rematch. What say you?
Lions by 10. Yeah, I just think the two-headed monster of Gibbs and Montgomery. I think we talk about the energy that Cleveland's playing with. I think Detroit keeps that energy. It comes from Dan Campbell. I think Jared Goff just responds. I know, contrary to popular belief, he seems to be this guy who keeps falling apart. I'm like, he's in the playoffs all the time. He was a quarterback in the Super Bowl. He's been in NFC Championship games. Like, he's been in a lot more playoff games than a few guys who get paid more money than him. So, in my opinion, he has delivered more than them, and just much as like, some of your guys' favorite quarterbacks. Now, like I said, they just have an energy that matches their energy matches teams that expect to win. They make the plays of teams that expect to win games when they step out on the field. You can see that certain teams don't have that kind of, they don't bring it every week. We talk about Buffalo. Buffalo is a good team. They have a good roster, they have an MVP quarterback. But you can be concerned about them next week and have real concern. I'm not concerned about the Lions. They may win, they may lose, but I'm not concerned that they won't bring it and they won't be ready to bring it. Shit can happen in the game. You can have some drops, some fumbles, and things that go sideways, but I don't expect that from Detroit. I kind of low-key expected from Green Bay to not deliver when they get opportunities. I don't think they capitalize on their teams, on the defense's best games, whereas I think the Lions capitalize on, wrecking the team's defense.
Well, the Lions better hold on to what they got because it doesn't make a difference if they make it or not. They living on a prayer out here. Like the last couple of weeks, they've been tinkering around with their offense.
Shout out to Jersey Bon Jovi.
Trying to figure out, who they are, what they are, how they're going to win games, who's calling the plays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, my problem with the Lions, is that I talk about this a lot, Jared Goff, because I actually like Jared Goff. But if you listen to me talk about Jared Goff, you wouldn't think that I like Jared Goff because there's a whole lot of criticism. There's a whole lot of, hey, it's a big game. You can't rely on him. We saw the interception that he threw up against Washington in the playoffs last year. But now let's talk about something more recent. We come into the 2025 season. They open up week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. 3 turnovers. They only rush it for 46 yards, regardless of that two-headed monster that Mr. Logical just talked about. When you look at Detroit against Green Bay, Philly, and Kansas City this year, the 3 best teams that they've played, they averaged 13 points a game in those 3 games. And if there's nothing else that Green Bay is going to bring to the table, is they're going to bring tough defense. And we know that Jared Goff gets the happy feet, but he's not going to move forward. So,
that critique of Jared Goff is always weird. I keep hearing that. He don't like when guys run his feet. No one does.
Well, that's not what I said. I didn't say he don't like when guys run his feet. I said that he don't like
happy feet. He needs a clean pocket.
He does.
I've heard this. Everyone does. That's the standard. That's
there's some quarterbacks that you talk about it all the time about how Patrick Mahomes, when the
gets
play
out of the pocket,
his heartbeat. No, about how his heartbeat in those moments slows down and all that kind of stuff.
He gets nervous.
Yeah, I'm not saying that
people
he
talk about when
he
was throwing the ball, like, he needs a clean pocket to throw the ball. I'm like, they all want a clean pocket to throw the ball.
No, every quarterback wants a clean pocket, but some are more dependent on that clean pocket than others. Like a guy like Baker Mayfield, if you're rushing at him, he doesn't completely shut down and brain go to shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Jared Goff does, is what I'm saying. And that's going to happen.
He lets it go a little too early.
Yeah.
If Baker try to duck and flip the defensive end older and get out of the pocket. Yeah.
Do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was the thing with Matthew Stafford before. He would just try to make the throw because I got this arm. I'm going to make the throw. And he's not doing that this year. And the Rams look a lot better. Jared Goff hasn't evolved. Like, he's still the same quarterback that he was when he flirted with Sean McVay's wife and he had to go. You know what I'm saying? He's still that same guy. So I'm not trusting him. Green Bay, obviously the issue is, what are you going to get week to week? But the one thing that I'm sure of in this game is that their defense will show up. So I'm taking the Packers by 3.
I'm going to take the Lions division game. I think 10 might have been a stretch. I'll go a touchdown. I just think the wide receiver, not having the number 1 wide receiver and the guys you have out there tend to drop passes in crucial moments. Jordan Love tends to get nicked up every once in a while, doesn't throw the ball out of bounds, that cowboy stuff. Yeah, I just like Detroit.
All right. Then we talked about it briefly in the afternoon game. We got Dallas bringing in Kansas City. I don't want to do the must-win thing again, but I guess every Kansas City game is a must-win at this point.
Kansas City has to go 11-6 to make the playoffs.
And and not only that, but Kansas City is 1-4 on the road this year. But you know what I always like to say, once you get one, you can get two. So they got the
you
Colts.
only play one at a time. It's not like you got to split the team up and play a B team and an A team.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to my guy Josh Pate because he says this a lot. You know what I mean? We look at these schedules because I'm Mr. Look at the schedule, and we go, ooh, loss. But you know what I'm saying? But it's a different version of the team every week. So so what Kansas City needed to do to beat Indy is a whole different thing of what they're going to need to do to beat Dallas, and Dallas will allow it. Dallas will give you the points that you need. You just got to stop them.
Yeah, I was watching the Dallas game. That was the one I had on TV, and I was just watching CD in critical moments this year, mainly against the Eagles, and a couple other times, just has these drops, like weird drops, and then looks at Dak like, "Yo, get it up here." I'm like, "Dog, you hit both of your hands." Like it wasn't like you're.
All right, next time I'll throw it at your neck.
Yeah, it was like it was here. It was like I'm under pressure, dog. I can't just be like waiting for you to clear the safety in the back of the end zone. Like you're open. I got to get rid of this ball. It hits you in both hands. You dropped it. Right. Like you said, Dallas is going to give you the opportunity to score.
Right.
I think Kansas City, they can learn from Philly because Philly just for some reason doesn't take advantage of the middle of the field as much as they should with the size of the wide receivers they have. And the fearlessness of Devontae Smith going across the middle. I just felt like they just kept everything like right and wherever Dallas needed it. Dallas was playing, cover 3. They're like, all right, cool. We're just going to run these routes right up here. Cool. We're going to hand the stretch play off. Here's a hole. Saquon didn't hit it. Just kept trying to go to the outside. They're running everything to the short side. It just was like a weird, like the play calling was odd after they were up 21. And I don't feel like you're forcing the ball to A.J. Brown because, that commercial was playing, the Geico commercial or Progressive, whatever commercial it was, A.J. Brown was on that treadmill. He looked like a giant on a regular side. I'm like, this man is a wide receiver. He's a huge person. It's like you should be able to get him the ball anytime it's one-on-one. That should be the check. And I don't feel like that's the case. I just feel like whatever the play is, they just run it and they don't switch up anything. And that's why they just have these, the game against the Rams where they just were just going for it because they had to grind, they had to catch up, it felt like it was more fluid. But when they have the lead, they just get into this shell of, all right, as long as we don't turn the ball over, we're good. And they have 2 fumbles. Change the momentum in Dallas. It's a very bad look.
You know what Nick Sirianni's record as a head coach is?
Something like 56-22 or something like that.
Yes, that's exactly it. And you know what I mean? But you wouldn't know it if you just watched the Eagles play, to your point. But I think Kansas City, I've been getting on them all season about how they can't run the ball consistently. They gave Kareem Hunt 30 carries the other day, got 104 yards out of it. So not necessarily efficient, but showing that they can run the ball. They just choose not to run the ball. So, so this should be a big play action game. Get Kareem involved early and then go over the top because we know that a safety is going to be out of place.
Out of position.
I don't know if Matt Eberflus is this great defensive coach that he's been cracked up to be. But what I will say is Dallas's defensive line and, their interior looks a lot better since they brought Quinnen Williams in. Because, we talked about, hey, maybe they should have went and got a DB or maybe they should have made the Sauce deal. But Quinnen Williams has been a, added plus for them. So, so from that standpoint, I think they'll be able to get home they'll be able to get to Mahomes a little more than I would have originally thought. But yeah. I still think
give Jerry credit on that deal.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have thought in August 15th of this year, you wouldn't have thought that Green Bay would be willing to move Kenny Clark, the Jets be willing to move Quinnen Williams, and the Cowboys be willing to move Michael Parsons and, Sauce Gardner for that matter. So for Jerry to get 2 of these 4 guys that you probably didn't think were going anywhere. It's a pretty good deal. And that's been the Chiefs' Achilles heel is like their guards, like the tackles have been the tackles. Like Jawan Williams keeps getting like either he's lined up in the backfield or he's getting a hold or hands to the face. So like I just got to see how Kansas City comes out. I think Kelsey will be a big factor. I think the tight ends in general are going to be a big factor because normally in these routes you're going to get safeties on tight ends, and I think the safety play has been, up and down for Dallas this year. So I think that's the advantage. And Kansas City can come out 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, but they're all standing up, or they can come out with 3 tight ends and Rasheed Rice on the left side, and they got 3 tight ends,
right?
And they still can hit a deep route to one of these tight ends. So it's like the way they manipulate getting the tight end in space. If Mahomes can hit him, like if he doesn't get happy feet, because we've seen a few games, like the game against Buffalo, where he was under pressure almost the entire time. If he can get that first drive where he's like, okay, I can survey, I can get to my third read. If he can consistently get to his third read, yeah, he'll pick Dallas apart.
Yeah, but, and then of course, not having Guyton could be huge, and you know what I mean. Like Diggs is still on his injured reserve, so I just don't know if Dallas can keep up in the secondary. But that's why I want Kansas City to run the play action. I don't want Mahomes to just drop back 48 times. You know what I mean?
If you get them in situations where if you get some bunch action with those 3 speedsters between Rasheed Rice, Thornton, and Worthy on the same side,
curtains.
It's chaos. Especially if you roll it and you protect it right, it could be a big game for one of these guys.
So, Mr. Logical, guess who's in first place
in the NFC or NFL? Lord, this Ravens take is gonna kill me.
But it's
almost
No, I wasn't going to stop.
I was
there.
defiant. There's no way they were going to come back. No way they gonna run. When you think they're gonna win 5 games in a row? I was so arrogant 5 weeks ago.
No, I wasn't going to stop there. I was going to say, okay, they're in first place. Guess who's back? Was the next question. The one and only Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Why?
He's going to need a game. He's going to need a game.
3-8 on the season. Of course, Baltimore's won the last 4 in this matchup, in this rivalry. 3 of those 4 by single digits, including last year by a combined 5 points in those 2 matchups. So no T. Higgins, he's out with the concussion, but Jamar Chase off of suspension, hopefully with the saliva in his mouth. So
you see his apology? So generic.
So generic.
By ChatGPT.
So do the Bengals have any chance to win this game on Thursday night?
Hell, I've been so wrong about the Ravens. I might as well say, yeah. I have no idea. I have no idea what you're gonna get. Really? Like, I mean,
well, the Ravens' offense still doesn't look good. Like the Jets.
Is T. Higgins out still? Because I know he was out.
Yeah. He's out with the concussion.
So he's still out. So you get Yushavas.
But you can argue that the Jets outplayed the Ravens in a lot of ways on Sunday. So this ain't the Ravens where they're winning these games, but it's for the reason that I told you. It wasn't because I thought the Ravens are about to hit this stride. I was just looking at the schedule. You know what I mean? And this is another favor where it's like you mentioned, you got to give Joe Burrow some time to work back in. You know what I mean? And not that the Ravens defense is the Ravens defense of old, but this is a division matchup. They're going to be up for you.
If the Ravens look at their first couple of defensive drives when Shador came into the game against Cleveland, if they start the game out like that, because I'm willing to do it. If I'm Baltimore's defensive coordinator, I'm willing to go after Joe Burrow, not because I think I could hurt him, but to see how confident is he in this line.
You got to show me
first, and then how confident are you in your feet? Because the line has, I want to say the line's got him injured because a lot of other quarterbacks still behind that line and didn't get season.
Yeah, Joe Flacco.
He
he hurt his shoulder, but he ain't missed games.
Yeah, so Jake Browning played a lot of games behind that line. So Burrow, I want to see, is your play caller confident in you to stand back there under this barrage when I send Kyle Hamilton off the edge and I send Wiggins off the edge?
He got hurt the other day. We got to see if he's playing.
I'm pretty sure, like, for division rival, these guys, they'll figure it out. But it's like, are you confident enough to stand back there while I go zero coverage on first and second down and I'm sending a house? Because I'm pretty sure the offensive line knows that's the $250 million guy back there. And we keep getting them injured and we're getting all the blame. Does that mess up their communications? Does that make guys play, not as loose as they should be? Because that would be my take. It's like, listen, bombard them. Just off the bat, when you come out of the gate, like, listen, you're going to have to deal with a lot of craziness in this zone scheme. We're going to pull out everything we got in this first half to see if we can get either a quick turnover, some 3 and outs, like anything that kind of just messes up your rhythm, because you don't want a guy coming back from injury who's that good to get in a rhythm. You want to keep him off it. You want to keep him off the field. You want to control the clock. So that might mean Lamar, you might have to run it a little bit more. We don't want quick drives. We don't want potential 3 and outs. We want him to sit on the bench, try to keep his foot loose, and then score points with Derrick Henry. But of course, it's the NFL. They're gonna throw 45 passes each.
Yeah. So I'm taking
the
Baltimore.
It's gonna be 41-40, and a 50-yard field goal is gonna win it.
Yeah, I'm taking Baltimore. And then of course on Friday, all I'm gonna say is, and I ain't gonna spend a lot of time here, I wouldn't want to be the Bears right now. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to be playing Philly coming off of that loss. Not a loss, that loss. I don't want to be that. Caleb Williams is going to be doing more of the side. He's going to look like a windshield wiper. You know what I'm saying? Like against Philly's defense. So give me Philly by 2 scores in this game.
Ooh, that much?
Yeah, I'm talking like not 10 points either. I'm talking like 14.
That's unlike you. You don't really, fall for the hype too much. I think it might be more competitive. I think the problem in that locker room, maybe they'll air it out now because they lost. Maybe someone's going to have to really look at the last 4 or 5 games prior to and see, is AJ on to something? Because if you point the finger, it's going to be a problem. But if you take the loss and say, all right, why is it that the second half against the Giants, we didn't score any points? We struggled the first game against the Cowboys.
The Denver
and
game.
This one, the Denver game. We struggled the game they beat Kansas City.
Scored 10 points against Green Bay. Kelsey
doesn't tip that ball up. They lose to Kansas City. So now that the wins have stopped, can you sit down and look at the film and say, hey, man, the last 16 quarters for us have been graded C-, even to 21 points.
So what's that weather up there looking like? Because I think this is a game where Saquon could get loose.
Right now, it's a little misty. It's been warm, though. So it was like 48 yesterday. It was like 51, 52 today. I think, so it's warm. It's not quite that winter cold just yet. I've been wearing a hoodie. Like, I haven't broken out a big jacket just yet. So they should be fine playing on that grass and fill it at the link.
All right.
It financial.
So give it to me. Give me the Eagles give me the Eagles to cover. You know what I'm saying? Then of course we got college football playoff rankings to react to real quick. So we're gonna jump right into it. And then I got something that I'm gonna bring up to you real quick, Mr. Logical. So I'm gonna start at the bottom, just like we did last week from 25 to 1. We'll go through this quick. Stop me if you have thoughts. And then we'll get through this. All right. Let's see. As soon as I can get my screen right here. I don't know. Here we go. All right. Here we go.
All right.
So taking it from the bottom, saying we got Arizona at 25. So my first thought is we just playing musical chairs. If you lose, what conference are you in? Oh, it was a Big Ten team. Let's throw a Big 12 team in there because we got these teams at the top of the rankings. You know, you got Tulane at 24, Tech and Pitt at 22 and 23. SMU is here. So now all those people that was saying Miami lost to an unranked team, hey, you know what I'm saying? Arizona number 20.
They weren't ranked at the time.
You know, Tennessee 19, Virginia 18, USC 17, Texas 16. Look at number 15. Look at number 15. They got the boys from Columbus coming in this weekend.
How high up do they go if they beat them?
We'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
Because that was one of my things I'm going to talk about real quick. All right, so Vanderbilt, 14. Go Utes at 13. Miami's at 12. BYU at 11. Bama at 10. Notre Dame 9. Oklahoma 8. There's Ole Miss, Oregon, and Tech at 7, 6, and 5. And then your top 4 still the same. Georgia, A&M, Indiana, Ohio State. So what I was going to bring up to you, Mr. Logical, is that I think we already got 7 or 8 playoff spots locked up. So this is where it gets fun. Yes, because I think
you
Ohio.
Pick your brain then.
Okay, go ahead.
You got Ohio State locked.
Ohio State lock.
Indiana locked.
Indiana lock.
A&M locked. Georgia locked.
A&M lock. Georgia lock.
Texas Tech locked.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, scroll down.
All right, let's see. Hold on.
Because right now all I can see is Oregon. You just got to move the mouse over. Okay. You got Bama locked because you got them beating Auburn.
I don't got Bama locked.
You don't have Bama locked?
I don't have Bama locked. Nope.
Huh. Ole Miss?
Ole Miss is a lock.
Because they're not playing the SEC championship game.
Oh, yeah, I do have Oregon. I don't know if you said them. Yeah, I got Oregon.
Okay, Oregon.
Yep.
So who's scroll down? I think we got them all right?
So this is the thing, right? So this is where I'm being a little, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say, but so I don't have Texas Tech, but of course there's a spot for the Big 12 champion, and there's a G5 spot. That's probably going to happen. So I got Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, A&M, Ole Miss, the Big 12 champion, Georgia, and your G5 champ. So that's 8 spots right there out of the 12, right? Now, this is where it gets kind of crazy, right? Notre Dame is probably in with a win. They beat Stanford this weekend, they're in. You know what I mean? So that'll be 9 spots out of your 12, right? Now, this is the other part. You know what I'm saying? Oklahoma. I think that if Oklahoma doesn't get bit by LSU this weekend, I think Oklahoma's a lock.
At 10-2.
Yep. So that would be
no
10.
SEC championship.
No SEC championship.
So that means Bama would have to be a lock.
Not necessarily, because Bama can still play for the SEC title and lose, and that'll give them the 3rd loss. Now,
who would they play in the SEC championship game?
As of right now, it would be A&M. But we'll get into that in a second too. Hold on. Slow down a second. Because this is the thing.
Of all the teams that are just sitting back like, yo, we good. We don't have to. We play this last little cupcake.
Well, think about it like this:
play a tough rivalry game.
The committee is like when they changed and we went to the board for Master Sergeant, right? Like
Correct.
So this year, the Master Sergeant board says we want to focus on off duty and education. So people come out that next year and focus on that, and then the new committee the new board comes in and says, "I want to see you be an expert at your job, and I want to see
job
you
performance."
lead." Right.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with the
boards.
committee.
I remember it was like this, and then the scores were this high and the scores were this low, and it's like, yo, what's the standard?
Right, and that's where we are with the committee, because last year, they allowed SMU to lose the ACC championship and get in. You know what I mean? This year, it's a different committee. So are they going to look at that the same, especially if that's your 3rd loss?
But that gave SMU 2 losses, right?
Yes, that's my point. This would give Bama 3. And that's where you kind of get into the mix of.
But if you lock Bama in at 10-2,
right?
Like, and you're the committee before the 12 come out, but you have them at 10-2. They go to SEC championship. They play a 12-0 A&M team. They're going to say, we can't fault you for losing to the undefeated number 3 team.
I can if you lose by double digits. SMU lost that game by 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
they battled back, and it was a last second field goal.
Right. And
but
hold on, but wait.
If you're getting Oklahoma in, that means in order to get Oklahoma in at 10-2, you have to value the win they got over Bama. So
I don't, because you have to talk Bama up. Y'all told me Miami and Notre Dame don't matter, so no, I don't.
Not me. I'm talking about the committee. The committee. But hold up,
but this is the other part.
I might hype up Bama because I got to get Oklahoma in.
Hold up,
and that's probably the other part of the
equation.
Win.
But this is the other part of the equation. What did you just ask me, and I told you to hold on? Georgia? How high does Michigan get if they beat Ohio State? So now, you know what I'm saying? Michigan's number 15. Michigan can beat Ohio State and still not play for the Big Ten title. And to bring it full circle, one of Michigan's losses is to Oklahoma. So Oklahoma got the Michigan and they got the Michigan and Alabama win.
They're sitting in the catbird seat.
There you go. So
they just got to win. They got to be who this weekend? LSU.
Yep.
Probably a lot of guys not going to play in that game because they're setting up their transfer.
That's what that's what I'm saying. So I think OU's locked. So I think that we're talking about Michigan, Vanderbilt, Miami,
UVA?
Maybe. So let's get to that. So this week,
this 16-team argument, we're going to hear so much.
Well, now they're talking about maybe 24. You know what I'm saying? But just like FCS. But you know what I'm saying? FCS playoffs starting, by the way. So next week. So look. So SMU, UVA win. That's your ACC title game. If not, I don't got the time. There are 64 different scenarios that the ACC could see itself play through. But the key to remember here is a conversation we had a few weeks ago. There is a possibility, slim, but there is a possibility that we could get a Miami-Duke ACC title game still, which brings back can the ACC get left out of the college football playoff? You know what I'm saying? But boom, Virginia, beware, because since the year 2000, Mr. Logical, UVA has beat Virginia Tech twice. So beware.
In Blacksburg.
No, period. Since the year 2000, they have beaten Virginia Tech twice. No matter where the game has been played.
That's tough.
So beware, Cavaliers. Beware. You know what I'm saying? But SMU gets Cal. Cal just fired their head coach. We'll talk about that here in a quick second. But then in the Big Ten, Indiana, Ohio State win. That's your Big Ten title game. If Michigan wins and Oregon beats Washington, we get an Indiana-Oregon rematch. If Indiana and Oregon loses, we get Indiana-Michigan. I'm sorry, Indiana-Ohio State still. Indiana-Ohio State still.
So
Michigan can get in.
Oregon. So Michigan beating Ohio State thrust Oregon into the Big Ten championship game.
Yes, because it would be a three-way tie. Yeah, because it would be a three-way tie between Oregon, Ohio State, and Michigan and Oregon.
So if I'm Dan Lanning, I'm trying to win this game this weekend, and I'm rooting for the Buckeyes.
Ohio State. Yeah,
I'm rooting for the Buckeyes so I can get an extra week of just practice and no football game.
Yeah.
I'm in the college football playoff, and wherever the rankings end up, you play whoever you play. But one less game and you still get to play for the change. This is a weird system.
So I gotta bring this up just for chaos, right? So if Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon all lose, we get Ohio State, Michigan in the Big Ten title game. All right. So let's go to the Big 12 real quick. Big 12. Texas Tech and BYU in with a win. So they could play each other again if they both win this weekend. Utah has to root for BYU. So Utah needs Texas Tech to lose, and then they need BYU and Arizona State to win. And you would get the Holy War rematch in the Big 12 title game. That is the only scenario Utah can make the Big 12 championship game, is a Holy War.
Okay, but Utah goes 10-2. They're sitting at 13 right now. Miami not playing in their ACC championship. You think they keep them at 12? You think they keep them in the because I know the Power 5 or the the G5 school gets a spot automatic. In theory, or is it automatic, or is it theoretically automatic?
It's the top 5 conference champions. So it could be 2 G5s. You know what I mean? And that was the scenario with the ACC that we were just talking about. But yeah, so there's going to be a G5 that gets in by default.
Okay. So Utah needs BYU to win so they can get the rematch in the Big 12 title game.
Yes. Arizona
State
needs either, they need to win, they need to beat Arizona. They need either BYU or Texas Tech to lose along with Utah. So not all 3, but at least one of Texas Tech and BYU and Utah, because they have the head-to-head. They're the only team that beat Texas Tech. So they're still alive, but it's highly unlikely. In the SEC, Bama, A&M, in with the win. A&M's got to come down here to play Austin. Texas favored by 2.5. Alabama favored by 5.5 in Jordan-Hare. Both of them win. That's your SEC title game. If either one loses,
and
the other one wins, the one that won plays Georgia. So if Bama loses, it's A&M Georgia. If A&M loses, it's Georgia Bama. If both lose, if Alabama and A&M lose, we get Georgia Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss is like, nah, we good. We'll just go ahead and get this.
Well, we got to find out. Ole Miss got to figure out if they got a head coach after Friday, right?
Yeah, I don't want to hear anybody talking about NIL ruining college sports when you have head coaches under contract with private jets waiting on them with their family with new suits that match the new school colors. So all you people coming at me talking about NIL's ruining college sports, the money was always there. Yeah. Oregon's uniforms and the fact that they got all these different color-inspired Jordan cleats is evident that the money is always there. All these schools that get Nike deals don't get the same kind of Nike swag. The Clemson players don't get the same amount of Nike swag that these MAC players are getting. Like, there's a Nike school, but the money's always there. So stop trying to blame it on the players for these guys being able to get a few $100,000 or even $1 million.
How crazy would it be?
Scamming teams.
Yeah, how crazy would it be if Bama and A&M do lose? We get Georgia Ole Miss. Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl on Friday, and then we find out Saturday Lane Kiffin's going to LSU. That's crazy. Sun Belt, real quick. JMU has one side locked down. The winner of Troy Southern Miss is their opponent. In the MAC, there are 5 teams alive. One of them's on TV right now. Western Michigan is in with a win. Yep, against Toledo if Toledo wins. If not, it's a whole ball of mess. Miami, Ohio, and Central Michigan are still alive. The loser of Toledo, Central Michigan, is out. All right. CUSA, you got my Hilltoppers. Went down to LSU, lost 13-10 this past weekend. You know what I'm saying? So then, if we got at Jacksonville State, the winner of that game is in. If Kennesaw State beats Liberty, the winner of that game will play Kennesaw State. If Kennesaw State loses, we might end up with a Western Kentucky Jacksonville State rematch. Mountain West, San Diego State in with the win. And by the way, I'll be talking about their head coach here in a second. Boise's in with a win. So San Diego State and Boise win, it's all clear. If not, it's a possibility for a 6-way tie for second. You know what I'm saying? So, that's your scenarios for the week. So, real quick, Mr. Logical, Justin Wilcox, who I've been calling for to get fired from Cal, finally got fired. Here are my quick list of candidates for you.
All right.
Deshaun Jackson.
That's a short list.
You know what I'm saying? Led Delaware State to their best season in 10 years, I think it is. Brian Harsin, who is the offensive coordinator, former Auburn head coach, former Boise State head coach. He's on the staff already. Oregon defensive coordinator, Tosh Lapoy, played at Cal. Could Ron Rivera be the first ever college football GM coach?
He better not.
Will Stein. Will Stein, my guy over at Oregon, the offensive coordinator, go UTSA Roadrunners. You know what I mean? Could he get a job? And then finally, Jim Mora Jr. That's my candidate list for Cal, because Stanford's making moves out here. They're putting money into the program. Cal ain't going to let this shit go for too long. And then one last piece of note before we get to the NBA.
Chip Kelly needs a job.
Nah, he wouldn't recruit at UCLA. He damn sure ain't going to recruit at Cal. Yeah. So we do have a hire, Mr. Logical. Oklahoma State is hiring North Texas. Oh, I forgot to mention the American. So they're hiring North Texas head coach Eric Morris. He's important. I'll tell you why in a second. But in the American, if Tulane wins, they're in. North Texas, who I just said, coach is going to Oklahoma State. They have the tiebreaker over Navy. So if they win, they're in. So we might get a Tulane North Texas conference title game where both coaches are leaving.
That's tough. That's a tough predicament to put these players in, because a lot of these players, like, they might be, connected with the coach. It might be going to the next school. And it's like, do I play in this game and try to win, or risk injury and maybe not even be able to go along with that? I know it's a tough position to be in. So
Mr. Logical,
coaches can move, so can players.
So Oklahoma State is hiring Eric Morris from North Texas. Do you know why he's important? He's important because he was Patrick Mahomes' offensive coordinator at Texas Tech. He's important because he recruited Cam Ward to the University of the Incarnate Word here down in San Antonio and took him to Washington State with him. And you know who else he was the offensive coordinator for when Cam Ward left? He was the offensive coordinator for John Mateer. And then on top of that, he's got a true freshman, Metzemacher, who leads the nation in passing right now at North Texas. So
that guy's going to Oklahoma State.
Yes. So not only does he have the North Texas head coaching background, he's got the Texas Tech background, Big 12, great hire, Oklahoma State. So
can recruit the area.
And he knows quarterbacks, apparently.
Yeah, he knows quarterbacks.
All right. So real quick around the association, Mr. Logical, can the Thunder go 74-8?
Yeah. I think we've seen this happen since the year that the Warriors went 73-9 and not winning a championship. I think teams are cool with not having that record and being prepared for the playoffs. So unless they just can't stop winning in the middle of the season, like if they just go on a run where it's like, yeah, we just ran off, Miami Heat numbers 27, 28 games in a row. But yeah, if they get to that point, it would have to be something like that, like where they just ran off so many wins in a row. Like it's inevitable. You just got to keep.
Yeah, don't forget they won 68 last year, and we were talking about, can they get it done? Are they experienced? So the Phoenix Suns 11-7. Saying 2 games out of the 3 seed with Jalen Green only played 3 or 2 games this season. Dylan Brooks made my ire because he's talking about how the Rockets flopped every time the Suns built a little bit of momentum in that loss last night. And I'm going to say, first of all, Dylan Brooks, you calling out people for flopping, knock it off. Cut it out.
Pot calling kettle super black right there.
Yes. Wesley Snipes black. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened right there.
Skolnick black.
Yes. Mr. Logical, bad news.
Let's hear it.
Christian Brown already hurt. Now Aaron Gordon out 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring strain.
Did he tear it?
They say
strained it.
They say a strain. They say a strain is what it was reported as.
Damn, 4 to 6 weeks. That must have been one hell of a strain.
Yeah, man. My Nuggets, man. My championship pick. Chris Paul is finally calling it quits after this season.
I thought he abruptly retired when I saw it. It said Chris Paul because the head note I saw was
He
the clip I
should. The
saw.
Clippers are
It said
5-12 right now.
said Chris Paul retires, but it's like retires at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Get
yeah,
him
that's a
out of
long
here.
time to keep playing basketball, man.
Yeah.
Like-
Take your banana boat friend with you, too.
Yeah, he had a good run. Let's let
All
it
right.
go.
Pop quiz time, Mr. Logical.
Let's hear it.
Who are the top 5 scorers in the NBA coming into tonight?
Shea, Luca,
Check.
Jokic.
No.
I know Austin Reeves is cooled down. I'm like LaMelo Ball seems like he's putting up a lot of points.
No.
Cade Cunningham.
No.
Why am I drawing a blank? Not KD because he doesn't score that much. Giannis, I know he's injured.
Giannis. Yep. Okay.
Maxey.
Yes. One more to
That's
go.
4. East or West Conference?
Eastern.
Surprise?
He scores a lot, but maybe to be in the top 5 could be considered. Like maybe if he was 7 or 8, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Brunson?
No. Somebody
Right
around
about.
that size though. The itsy bitsy spider.
Donovan Mitchell?
Yes.
He's not Jalen Brunson size.
He ain't that much bigger than Jalen Brunson.
Pause. I think he got like 3 inches on him.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Luka, Maxey, SGA, Giannis, and Spider in that order. So my Wizards out here giving up 129 points a game. You know, Jazz giving up 125. You know, then the Raptors with 8 in a row.
I mean, the Brandon Ingram effect.
I guess so.
Yeah, sometimes you're gonna have a couple of down years, and I think you had your down years.
Uh-huh.
You have your down years. You get the pieces, you move the pieces, you fire the coach, you fire the GM, and you get it all to mesh. You just gotta trust, like they talked about Philly, trust the process. Sometimes you just gotta suck for a couple of years. Your fans got to get discounted tickets so they can keep the stadium back, keep the arenas back, and then eventually you'll turn the corner. Eventually, a guy that you draft or a guy you trade for will be your version of Shea. He'll be your version of, like these guys like Norman Powell down in Miami. Like, if you keep plugging away, you'll get the guy that's going to be able to, to be your guaranteed 28 points a game guy, and you can like rally around him. Like I saw LaMelo Ball's looking for a trade.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, but
it's like,
speaking of Miami, real quick, 12-6. That's without Tyler Hero. But yeah, LaMelo Ball once out. Like, I mean, this is one of those moves where you with 2 5s impatient. So when I look at these things, it's been 7-8 years now. It's time to move on. And it's because you didn't make the other moves. You're still holding on to Miles Bridges for some strange reason. You didn't move off of Nurkic. Like you have other players that you could have put around LaMelo Ball to make your team better, but you chose to run it back. So this is all on the organization.
Yeah, they probably could have moved him for some assets before. I'm not. Like I said, he won a lot of games in high school, and he traveled around the world playing in a lot of different leagues. I'm not sure if the expectations of playing there were like to win or was just to showcase his talent. But I don't know. Just since he's been in the NBA, I don't know if he puts the team on his back the way like Maxey does. And like Philly's gonna have up and down years, but I just feel like we saw it in that playoff game where the Knicks were up and they thought the game was over, and Maxey hit those, like, I think he had like a 4-point play. He had like another 3. Like, I just don't see LaMelo Ball doing that.
And El Reza did say, take this with a grain of salt. Take this with a grain of salt. This is only TikTok news. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about expansion the other day on TikTok, and someone who allegedly, works with the Carolina Panthers, saying heard that the Hornets are on the relocation block. So take that with a grain of salt. I still hate the NBA Cup. Nothing has changed about that. And then last thing before we get out of here, Mr. Logical, Clay versus Ja.
Like they said, man, he's like, yo, you can't talk slick in street clothes. And then Clay hit him with that, that scholar level trash talk. He's like, listen, no one respects him. I don't respect him. You can tell by the way he behaves and respect himself. Like when you hit him with that, like you can't come back with, well, he a bum anyway, because it lends more towards what Clay said. I don't judge. It's the same thing with LaMelo Ball. I don't think LaMelo Ball is like a distraction, but some guys I think are just in the sport because they're just talented and they have the ability to play the game and they like the perks. And sometimes it's like, we want you to play. Like, I don't want to hear you talk from the bench. I don't want to talk about you pointing your finger in somebody's face while you didn't compete. So, what does that mean, face?
The Buffalo Bills have signed Brandon Cooks.
You didn't see that earlier? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Listen,
somebody's got to get open. But yeah, so Ja, just get on the court.
You don't need Brandon Cooks to get open. The hospital's already open for him.
Ja, it was a conversation like a year and a half ago. Who's the next face of the NBA was going to be? Was it going to be Ant Edwards? Was it going to be Ja because they wanted a young American face? And he just played himself right out of it.
And then speaking of which, OKC, Minnesota tomorrow, ESPN, be there or be square, But ladies and gentlemen, he is the one and only world-renowned, world-famous. He is cool, calm, and collected. He
Absolutely.
is Mr. Logical, and he wants you to know that he was born in Texas, raised in VA, representing everything New Jerusalem to include. He is on wax, saying that Rutgers is going to beat Penn State this weekend for the first time since 1988 and go to a bowl game.
Do not say that when we have a Penn State former coach coming on to the show next week. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We making moves over here. We making moves over here.
Keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out. We have an interview
Mike.
Coming up with the one and only Jay Paterno. That will be coming out on December 3rd. So keep your eye out for that. There'll be a bunch of reminders about that. We're going to talk about NIL. We're going to talk about the mental health side of sports and leadership.
The grind.
Hey, what up? Where you been? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I heard there was an alpha. Is it A, B, C, D, Q? Is it Q? Like, never mind. He's not a real person. But yeah. So, we'll have Jay Paterno on the show to talk about those things. Like I said, that'll be out on December 3rd. But in the meantime, while you out here having all these arguments, do not bring feelings to fact fights.
Don't do it.
And then, of course, down here in the Alamo, I am your unorthodox statistician going left so much you thought I was southpaw. And I go left so much that Jake Paul better take notes because that's a big-ass dude he going to be ducking. So,
Joshua going to beat the brakes off that dude. He's going to beat the tattoos off of him.
Of course, happy Thanksgiving out there. Friday means picks, and more picks. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things. Do all the good things. Liquid Death in hand. Hit that notification bell. We are wherever you get your podcast. Sports Reports is ordered. We love y'all so much. And in the meantime, while you figuring out how much we love you, check out our new outro video.
Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chasing, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run